Hi again, this is Tasha, and this tutorial is about the presets in Todd's steel guitar. To start off, we have the presets panel, and up here we have the main user presets, where you can load and save up to 4 presets. These presets are for saving and loading all the knob and switch settings on the Effects tab, as well as the input volume, all reverb parameters, and output volume on the main tab. Also, we have the temporary EQ presets, where you can save and load up to 4 temporary EQ settings, which we will get into later in this tutorial. Then we have the import and export menus, where you can globally store all your favorite main and temp EQ presets. The data for these imports/exports is saved in the data folder that is in the main steel guitar folder and can be imported into any project, which is why we call them global. So to understand how this works, the main and temp EQ presets are to be used freely in each of your projects, so they can be saved and loaded right along with the projects. As you save your projects, the main and temp EQ presets are saved with those projects, and all the import/export presets are unaffected. That is, as long as you haven't exported any presets while working on your project. And here is an important point. The save presets give you no warning. And if you select Save, it simply overwrites the previous settings with no warning. However, if you select Export, you will get a warning that says, "Are you sure?" along with a yes and no button to click on. This is to ensure that you don't accidentally overwrite the global data files. But let's say you do come up with the main effects or temp EQ settings that you really like and want to export. You can. Just make sure, and this is important, make sure you've first saved any changes you've made. Otherwise, these changes will not be exported. So now let's get to the function of the temporary EQs. Their purpose is so that you can select different EQs while your steel Midi track is playing. For example, let's say you've got your steel Midi track programmed and sounding good, except there may be certain areas that might sound better with a different EQ. That's what these temp EQs are for. In those places you'd like EQ changes, simply adjust the EQs to your satisfaction and save it as a temp EQ. So what exactly is a temp EQ? A temp EQ only applies to the 5-band and solid G EQ, and only the knob settings and the bypass switches are saved. Nothing else is saved or retrieved with a temp EQ. So let's bring up the Midi editor so you can see how to use the temp EQs in your Midi arrangement. As you can see here, we have the CC26 controller built in to select one of the 4 temp EQs. But you might be thinking, if the temp EQs are used, how do I get back to the main presets? The simple answer is, the main presets can also be selected with CC26. And just like the temp EQs, only the EQ settings and their bypasses are retrieved. And the way this works, each of the 8 presets fall between a value going from 0 to 127. As you can see here, the temp EQ1 falls between 0 and 15. EQ2 falls between 16 and 31, so on and so forth, up to the main preset 4, which is between 112 and 127. This chart is explained further in the manual. So, continuing on, notice the red switch beside the temp EQ menu? It has to be turned on before CC26 is activated and can be used. This is to prevent the temp EQs from interfering while working on the main presets. Also notice the little arrow on the right side of the main preset menu. This little arrow indicates which menu is in use when the CC26 switch is activated, the main or the temp EQ. This comes in handy when using CC26 while programming your Midi. To check this out, here's a series of chords with CC26 selecting some of the presets. As we play it, watch the presets and little arrow as they change. Also something to know, it's best to place your CC26 EQ changes right at the start of the note you are EQing. That's because you may get a slight click if the change is made when a note or notes are playing. Well, that's it, and I hope this gives you a better understanding of how the presets work.